Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSC back again with LEGO Transformers, Pizzabots, Optimus Prime. This is my second LEGO Transformer based off fan art and comes from the same artist as last week's video. I've been eyeing Jito's Optimus Prime design for some time now and was considering building him long before I decided to open the floodgates with Alita. It's a very unique but daunting design, which is why it took me so long to commit to building it. But once I had Alita, I knew I had to. In this mode, Optimus is some kind of Cybertronian truck. My version seems a little lower profile and wider than the art, but for the most part I've captured the key details. I don't know if Fall of Cybertron Optimus was inspiration for the alt mode in the original art, but I think my version ends up feeling really reminiscent to his FOC alt mode. Up front, I had to simplify the headlights down to a single yellow square, and the front bumper isn't quite filled in. This whole section of the build was easily the trickiest part to get working, and unfortunately there just wasn't a lot of room to pack in extreme detail. Throughout the build, I was worried the cab would sit too high in alt mode and look goofy. In retrospect, I may have went too far. I like how it looks mounted this low, but it's not quite accurate to the art. Up top, I was able to capture the small yellow roof lights with some fragile upside-down building, and of course there's the suspicious blue crest and smokestacks erupting out of the top. The back of the truck is where I started the build, as it had the clearest transformation. We don't get to see the bed of the truck in the art, so I took advantage of that to keep the transformation simple and have the thighs end up there. For the wheels, I've used two different diameters of dishes. I know some people may prefer real wheels, but I feel these pieces better capture the shaping of the art and hug closer to the vehicle than real wheels could have. One of the last things I added to this model were the 3 locking tabs that help to keep the truck nice and solid. It really brought the whole model together, and it makes it so much more fun to play around with. Anyways, that's all there is to say about truck mode, so now it's time to transform. Here we have Prime in robot mode, and this is definitely my favorite of the two. I love the proportions, and I think the model really captures the heroic appearance of the original art. He stands tall and proud with long legs and broad shoulders, the classic Optimus Prime look. Starting at the bottom with his feet, I've represented the thick black soles of his boots with snot bricks. They serve as a locking point in truck mode, and I think the anti-stud pattern works as a vague approximation of the shoe's treads. The rest of the lower leg is rather simple. However, things get more interesting up in the hips. His hip joint actually mounts backwards, kinda like Legacy Shadow Striker's shoulders. This allows them to fold back further in truck mode, but still gives them a decent range of motion. There's just enough clearance to allow for a decent bit of backwards movement, avoiding the one major downside to this type of joint. I wasn't sure how I'd approach his torso, but it ended up being simpler to design than I expected. I've used some arch pieces to represent his rounded windows, which are blockier than they should be, but I think are the best choice for this scale. Other than that, I just had to add the upside down roof sections I mentioned in truck mode, and I was done. The arms were the challenge that drew me to this design initially. The shoulders clearly come from the back of the cab, while the arms form the wheel pods up front. I was really interested in making that transformation work in physical form, and ended up with a fairly simple solution. The shoulder pad is a separate piece that swings forward and actually sits in front of the real shoulder joint. While this does limit articulation, I think that's somewhat unavoidable trying to create this design at this scale. Due to transformation, his forearms end up offset at the elbow. This is somewhat present in the original art, but it's much more pronounced here and can look a little funky. But with clever posing, it can be hidden pretty effectively. His head design features just about every detail from the art. The rounded cheeks, the extended blue chin, and the baseball cap brim with a large gray crest. The only details I couldn't add were the blue tips of his exhaust pipe ears and the yellow stripes. I've built a lot of Optimus Primes over the years, and I'll build plenty more in the years to come. However, I think this Prime is one of the strongest, owed in no small part to the original art. It's such a characterful and creative take on the classic Autobot leader, and I'm so happy I was able to build it for myself. He looks great standing proud by himself, or with his partner piece, Alita. Both of these first two fan art builds have been very rewarding, and I'd love to do more in the future. I look forward to representing more talented Transformers artists on this channel, but this is all I've got for now. So, I'll see you next time.